Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, bootlicker shills, deathslay sirs, peasants, vassals, kooks, spiders from Mars. I'm Useful Idiot, welcome. And yeah, it's that time again, a music video, and the passing of David Bowie at the age of 69 of cancer. And what a shock. And I often talk about legends, and they really do not come any bigger than David Bowie. And what a career. Holy mackerel. So I'm just going to kind of reminisce a little bit, bring up some things about Bowie because there's going to be tons of tributes, tons of histories, and I'll discuss, kind of skim over the historical details. Of course, David Bowie came out of the 1960s R&B punk groups in the UK during the mid 60s and had early bands that a lot of people aren't familiar with, including the King Bees and the Arnold Corns, and then he became kind of a folkie. There's interesting pictures of him looking pretty androgynous with long hair in his early days. Of course, his original name was David Jones, but he changed it so as not to compete with the Monkees. And then Bowie, of course, was associated with the early, psychedelic folk movement in the UK as well, and then became one of the pioneers of what became known as glam rock with the invention of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars, which of course is where his big claim to fame. Other than the early hit with Space Oddity, and this all kind of happened at the same time in the early 70s, and it'd be hard to explain the shock to people today of seeing a group like that and an artist like David Bowie taking androgyny one step further than Alice Cooper. Alice Cooper's androgyny was always very surreal, and Bowie took it to the sexual edge, and that made a lot of people very uncomfortable. But the band itself and the music itself and the songs themselves and his charisma were undeniable. So, of course, this period of Ziggy Stardust came and went, and Bowie became a chameleon and reinvented himself time and time again. The slick Philadelphia soul of the Young Americans period, and then the Euro trash Germanic period of he spent in Berlin doing the album Low and Heroes in that period, and he continued to reinvent himself over and over and over again, and continued to make himself relevant. And then that's the kind of a couple things I want to bring up about Bowie that always impressed me. First of all, is the fact that he could stay relevant with each period. A lot of the big rock groups, of course, maintain a single persona and are relevant to their time, but Bowie managed to reinvent himself and become relevant to each new generation. And so he got to perform with the likes of Iggy Pop and all the way to Sonic Youth and heroes of today who all admire Bowie's work. And one of the other things that's interesting about Bowie, of course, is his penchant for writing great songs. I mean, even periods of his music that I'm not that fond of, a lot of the material is very interesting and very good. And then at its peak, certainly a period like Hunky Dory and Ziggy Stardust, those two albums were written together in a 6-month period, and it's a staggering achievement of pop song craft that Bowie could write that many great songs in such a short period. And he continued to do so throughout his career. And then one of the other achievements of Bowie is that in the echelons of great concerts, the Santa Monica 1972 concerts of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars is one of the all-time greatest rock concerts of all time. Culmination of just amazing songwriting. Bowie at his vocal peak, and then one of the greatest unsung rock ensembles of all time with Mick Ronson and band. Proving that they were one of the most frightening rock and roll creatures on the concert stage in the 70s. And so that culmination of talent and vision at that one great moment is amazing. And I'll try to attach that below if it's available here on YouTube. And then one of the other things that for me is amazing about Bowie and one of his greatest achievements is this association with his heroes and resurrecting these careers. So not only is Bowie a legend, but he took several other legends and created three of the most legendary rock albums of all time to add to the list of Bowie's albums, and that's groups like Mott the Hoople, Iggy and the Stooges, and Lou Reed from the Velvet Underground. And the fact that David Bowie would take them under his wing at the height of his career in the early 70s and resurrect their careers and create these legendary albums like All the Young Dudes, Raw Power, and Transformer is pretty amazing. And my hat's off to him for doing something like that and basically giving redemption to these artists and passing on his success to artists that preceded him, and then of course Bowie was influenced by. So anyway, I guess that's all I want to say about David Bowie. It's a very sad day. I'm gonna probably spend the whole day listening to David Bowie music, and for people of my generation, it's kind of a big deal. So anyway, I'm a useful idiot. Don't you be one too.